You ever get that feeling that you're just stuck in a loop? Like you're repeating the same old patterns over and over again? Or maybe you've just wondered, is this all there is? Well, today we're going to dive into a really fascinating map of human consciousness, one that's been drawn from centuries of both Eastern and Western philosophy. This is a journey through 14 distinct stages of spiritual liberation, from a state of being completely asleep at the wheel to one of ultimate, profound awareness.
So, to really get this journey, we first need to understand the starting line and the finish line. On one side, you've got this concept of samsara. In Hindu philosophy, this is the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Now, what's the big problem here? With every new life, the soul completely forgets everything it learned before. Think of it like this. You go to university, you bust your gut to earn a degree, and then the moment you graduate, your mind gets wiped clean. You have to go back and repeat the exact same classes again and again. You can see how, over time, that cycle becomes a kind of prison. And then on the other side, we have the goal, moksha. This is the end game. It's ultimate spiritual liberation, the great escape from that endless cycle.
Okay, so that just begs the question, right? If we're potentially caught in this massive cosmic prison, how in the world do we get out? What's the path from the trap of samsara to the freedom of moksha? Well, it turns out there's a map, a whole series of stages that actually describes this exact journey. We're going to break this entire journey down into 4 major acts. First up, we'll explore the prison of shadows. That's the initial stage of just living unconsciously. Then, we'll get into the call to awaken, where the first cracks start to appear in that illusion. After that, things get real, with confronting hard truths. And finally, we'll walk the path to liberation, where we learn to transcend the game entirely. So, let's begin. Act 1, the prison of shadows. This covers those first 4 stages, where a person is pretty much totally unaware of their true nature. They're living a life that's really just driven by reaction, not by any kind of conscious choice. The journey starts at stage 1, ignorance, or what's known in Hinduism as avidya. And, Plato's allegory of the cave just nails this state perfectly. This is where we mistake a completely distorted view of reality for the absolute truth. We think we are our bodies, we are our thoughts, we are our jobs. We're just looking at shadows on the wall. We're not seeing the real thing. We are, for all intents and purposes, asleep. And the walls of this prison? They're built out of the next 3 stages. Stage 2 is sensoriality. This is a life lived purely through the 5 senses, just a reactive existence, chasing pleasure, running from pain, with zero deeper thought. And that leads right into stage 3, fear. This is one of the most powerful barriers of all, the fear of death, of change, of anything unknown. It keeps the soul locked in this tiny, supposedly safe little box. And of course, that leads to stage 4, consolation. To cope with all that fear and meaninglessness, we look for comfort in distractions, shopping, binge-watching, rigid belief systems, really anything to keep us from having to face the hard truths of just being alive. But here's the thing. No prison can hold a soul forever, and that brings us to Act 2, the call to awaken. These are stages 5 through 8, where this deep, nagging dissatisfaction starts to crack the shell of illusion, and that's what sparks the active search for real meaning.
So the awakening kicks off with stage 5, uncertainty. It's that nagging feeling, right? Even when everything on the surface looks fine, there's this little voice that asks, really? Is this it? That discomfort is the spark. It leads directly to stage 6, doubt, where we finally start to actively question the beliefs we've just passively accepted our entire lives. And that doubt, well, it fuels stage 7, research. We start looking for answers. We start reading spiritual texts. Maybe we try meditation. We seek out wisdom. This is the huge shift from being passive to being active. And this whole search builds up to stage 8, astonishment. Suddenly, you're seeing the world with brand new eyes. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. Reality feels alive, interconnected, almost magical.
In this idea from Socrates, the unexamined life is not worth living, this is the absolute core of stage 6, of doubt, and really the whole awakening process. Questioning everything isn't a sign that you're lost. It's the engine of spiritual growth. It's that moment you decide to step out of the crowd and start to find your own path. But this awakening leads us right into Act 3, confronting hard truths. This is the really challenging middle part of the journey, stages 9 to 11, where all this newfound awareness has to start grappling with the tough realities of the world as it is. So right after that high of astonishment, you hit stage 9, disenchantment. Now, this word sounds kind of negative, but it's not a bad thing. It's actually a profound, sobering clarity. From this new vantage point, all the ambitions that used to drive you, status, money, praise, they can suddenly seem
Well, trivial. It's like graduating from the idealism of your youth to the realism of adulthood. You're finally seeing the game for what it is. This disenchantment then naturally leads to stage 10, social commitment. With this new understanding, you feel this deep, powerful urge to act for the common good, to help other people. It aligns with the idea of dharma. But here lies a really subtle trap. The very idea of me helping you actually reinforces that illusion that we're all separate. The ego can totally hijack this stage, creating a savior complex where you believe you can go out and fix the world. And trying to fix the world inevitably leads to stage 11, disillusionment. This is a crucial and often pretty painful realization. You finally understand that you can't change society from the outside and you can't help people unless they actually want to be helped. You learn that their will is the key and you can't force awareness on anybody. It's a state of resigned acceptance.
In this stage, right here, this is the first real point of no return. Once you've seen the mechanics of the world and human will this clearly, you can't unsee it. It's like the magician's trick has been revealed. You can never go back to watching the show with those same naive eyes. The old world of simple answers is just gone, for good.
This profound realization is what catapults us into the final act, the path to liberation. These are the last 3 stages, where the journey turns completely inward and you finally learn to transcend the game of life itself. After disillusionment comes stage 12, detachment, and it is so vital to understand this correctly. This is not apathy, it is not indifference or not caring, it is a serene centeredness. You learn to silence the mind's constant chatter of wants and fears. You can observe life's ups and downs without being completely thrown off balance by them. It's a deep inner peace that has nothing to do with what's happening on the outside. This evolves into the next stage, number 13, conscious indifference. And this comparison here explains the critical difference perfectly. So imagine 2 people say, studying is useless. One of them has studied their entire life and is speaking from a place of transcendence, having seen the limits of just intellectual knowledge. The other person has never even opened a book and is just speaking from pure ignorance. One is conscious indifference, born from wisdom. The other is just carelessness. See the difference? And so we arrive. We reach the final destination, stage 14, moksha. This is it, the culmination of the entire path. Total liberation from the illusion of the world and from the cycle of samsara itself. It's that moment of finally waking up from the dream, where the individual soul, or the Atman, realizes it is and always has been completely identical to the universal consciousness, the Brahman. That whole sense of a separate self just dissolves.
This realization is expressed so powerfully in this Sanskrit declaration from the Upanishads, Aham Brahmasmi, which means, I am Brahman. And it's not some egotistical claim, it's the exact opposite. It's the ultimate recognition that the individual I was just an illusion all along. It's the drop of water, finally realizing it was never, ever separate from the ocean.
And this whole journey, from being a prisoner in the dark to experiencing ultimate freedom, it leaves us with one final, pretty profound question to chew on. Once you've transcended the game, once the soul is totally liberated from all the old rules and attachments, what new kind of free will even takes its place? What does it even mean to act when you are no longer bound by any of the forces that shape ordinary consciousness?